Founded in 1969 by an energetic and committed group of local residents with a shared interest in ceramics, 2019 marks the 50th anniversary of the Greater Lansing Potters Guild. From an empty one-room shed in Haslett, Michigan, the Guild was transformed into a small working clay studio through the hard work of our founding members and their families, and the generous donation of time, labor, and equipment from friends and interested community members.
I was very interested in getting a guild going because I had been a student at the Ann Arbor Guild, and I found it an extremely exciting experience. I couldn't think of anything but clay.
I saw in the town courier, if you want to start a Potters Guild, go to the library on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So I thought, oh, well, I'll go. And I showed up at the library, and Russ McKee was there, and Eldon and you and Monique and the charter members, and Kay Fitzgerald and Gert. So they all said, if you want to join, put your $50 in, and the rest is history.
Since I was here, I thought I'd get involved with clay somehow, so I went over to the art department to see Lou Reinert, and he said, yeah, you can take some courses. So I was enrolled in a course. And one day he said, hey, Eldon, there's a group of women who are going to form a Potters Guild. Are you interested? And I said, yes. He said, they're meeting tonight at the library. So I went to the library that night, and the rest is history.
But it was a good number of people, and an interesting variety of people, most of whom did not continue. You know, they were interested in the idea for various reasons, but for some reason they didn't continue. But we somehow made it anyway.
I was taking some classes on campus from Reinert, and he mentioned it, but it would have been about 3 months after the guild was formed. He said, hey, there's a group of people in Lansing that are forming a guild. And I said, oh, what's that? And he told me, and he said, you probably would be interested in that. So it wasn't in '69, but early '70 that I became a member.
We didn't really have a home like this, and which was good in a way because we were able to be a group long enough to understand what we needed.
And then we got started. Found this old broken down shed here. and really was a great place.
We had to improvise. I think we had a toilet, yeah? Yes. And so it was hard labor. But we as a group just got together because we like clay, and that was it.
The first years we were learning how to be a co-op, how to be an organization of very disparate people from many walks of life, and learning how to meld our different personalities and different talents to make this place work. And I think we've done a terrific job of doing that.
And for weeks and weeks, we didn't throw pots. We worked to get the place ready. It wasn't like this, posh.
Just when the Guild was becoming an established production facility, activity came to a halt when a fire destroyed the building in the 1970s, leaving only a kiln full of pots as a foundation upon which to rebuild.
I was firing the night of the big fire. I was fired in the kiln. I was here till after midnight getting that thing going. Oh God, I finally did it. Then the next day, then the fire came, burned the building down. But the firemen came and got the fire all put out. And then they wanted to work on the kiln because they saw this glowing red kiln. And little Gert Zadov stood in front of the kiln, and she was going to keep them from doing anything that. And they had a little argument, but she convinced them that they couldn't do that. And the kiln, the firing turned out great. He said,
As you know, there was a fire and the building burned down. When it was time to rebuild, we had been a group doing this long enough to know what we needed.
I don't know why, but somehow I got involved in getting the building rebuilt. So I had plans drawn up and estimates, and I presented it to the board, and everybody liked it and approved it and so forth and so on. We built as big a building as we thought we could afford.
I vaguely remember the fire, the famous fire that burned the building down, which started because of a furnace overheating the rafters, and it burned down from the roof down. And Barb Hyman's husband rewired many of the wheels, and we all fixed things up, and in a way it was lucky. We had saved some money, we borrowed some money, and we rebuilt the building back better than it had been when we first started. So we've been lucky.
But the efforts to rebuild, to start all over, it's so easy to take things for granted, and I don't ever, ever, ever want to lose that spirit. Yeah, never.
Since then, the Guild has evolved into a full-service, 4,000 square foot studio with 6 kilns, 14 potter's wheels, clay mixers, a slab roller, and over 30 different batch glazes.
And my idea in the beginning was, well, we'll just do things the way the Ann Arbor Potter's Guild does them, and then when we find something we want to change, we'll change it. Well, we haven't changed very many things over the years.
At the beginning, they taught those of us that didn't know how to pot to make pots, and we all worked together to refurbish the building we bought and turn it into a guild.
Today, the 30 or so active members of the Potter's Guild assume all the responsibilities of running the organization, from accounting to marketing and sales, from clay preparation to firing of kilns, and from running our education program to cleaning and maintaining the studio. We all have something to contribute.
Word got around that there was this guild starting, and I thought, wow, this is going to be great to have a community of potters. I didn't know that was going to be even a part of it. So,
you know, I came here as a student after I had retired from teaching in East Lansing. So I came out here and took classes, first with Nancy Plum, who was a wonderful first-year teacher, and so that was the beginning. I took classes as long as I could because I liked being on the other side of the teaching-student relationship. It was fun being a student. And so then I became a visiting potter and subsequently a member. It's been heavenly.
Coming out of grad school, I thought I knew everything. And then working with the guild, it realized how much I didn't know. You know, just the whole process of just mixing clay, glazes, firing kilns, and just getting along with people in a group setting. You know, it's just like I'm not an individual, you know, I'm part of a greater organization.
I found the Potter's Guild in the 90s, I believe it was. A couple friends and myself, we used to go to the sales. And one year, 3 of us decided it would be fun to, well, let's just take a class. So we did, the 3 of us. For me, it was, I guess, just opening up that bag of clay and that smell again, that clay smell. And I thought, oh my gosh, I really would like to do this.
So I got into the guild, got interested in pottery, in fact, almost by accident. And so I signed up for some classes, figuring that I would be able to do something totally different artistically, and I would be working with other people. And it was a success on both counts.
The thing that really drew me initially to the guild was just the quality of work and the quality of instruction that can be had here. Excuse me, I had worked in various studios throughout town, and this was clearly the best studio available in this area. And I've enjoyed that all along, the variety of the kilns and the styles. So all the practical aspects of clay are prominent here.
I came to the Guild because years ago I thought it looked like people making pots looked like they were having such a good time, and it looked easy. And I thought, well, I want to do that. It looks like fun, and it's easy to do. Well, I was half right. I mean, it was fun. It was not easy to do. It took me a long time to learn how to make a pot.
I've been a Guild member for 6 weeks, and I never thought I would ever do this form of art. After a couple of classes, I thought, well, this is a lot of fun. I said, a pleasant surprise it was.
I got a card in the mail about the Potter's Guild sale because the previous owners of the house were on the mailing list. So my wife and I thought, well, that sounds fun. So we went to the sale, and then when my wife retired, she signed us up for a class. I took to it and I kept taking classes, and everything I know I've learned here in the classes and from looking at things in the library here behind me. And
my husband and I used to shop at the sales, and we saw an ad in the paper at one point, and we went to the sales, and we used to walk around, and each of us would find pieces that spoke to us. And I took a class that summer. I was a teacher, and I took a class in the summer, and I never stopped until I became a VP, a visiting potter, and then a member in 2004.
After a couple more moves out of Chicago, I landed here and luckily found the Guild right away and was just honored to be able to join in.
The Potter's Guild has become an important constituent in the community, promoting the ceramic arts through classes, demonstrations, charitable fundraisers, and our semi-annual sales, which draw pottery enthusiasts from throughout Michigan and surrounding states to choose from among the thousands of handmade ceramic pieces produced by our members.
Of course, our mission, one of the missions was to involve the community and try to identify clay as an art form, and I think we did a pretty good job of doing that.
I usually take part in the Apple Butter Festival and the East Lansing Festival when we do demos. I love doing demos and talking to the public, especially the little kids. It's wonderful to be able to do magic in front of their, see their eyes get big when you start pulling up a pot, because that's always magical, even to adults.
The Guild, to keep the idea of pottery and ceramics alive in the community is a great thing, because in certain venues it's kind of going by the wayside.
It's a great place for Lansing. We help the community. It brings art and pleasure to this community overall.
Well, I think the Guild is held in high regard as a benchmark of quality. They go to your shows and they see really quality work, and your standards of letting people in, and you make them, you're not an organization that just wants a potter to fill a space. You want people to be involved in an organization. And I think that of all the groups, this one, you get your people involved. And that's kind of hard these days, I think, with any volunteer group. I belong to some other ones, and it's really hard to get people to participate and help do what they, to make the thing grow. But you've managed to do that with your policies and your procedures.
I think the Guild as a whole is contributing to the good and the artistic welfare of our community.
I think the Guild is a very important part of the community, the arts community in Lansing, in the Lansing area, because it's one medium, and it's a very accessible medium. So with the sales, lots of people come and lots of people see it, and there's a huge variety of work. It's affordable. It's something they can use.
The community activities and the community outreach that we have here at the Guild is incredible, and it's growing all the time. I love going to the Apple Butter Festival or the Art Festival, or just creating activities with the community to help them to appreciate who we are, not just who we are, not just because we want to sell pots to them, but because we want them to appreciate the beauty and the quality of handmade pieces of art.
Being a member of the Guild means being part of a family. Guild members have formed a unique bond that has helped them through both good and difficult times.
Most of us in the Guild would not have run into one another in the course of our normal lives, but the Guild brings us together and we're all the same. You know, you cannot put on pretenses when you're covered from head to toe with clay. And I have met some wonderful people.
The people on one hand are colleagues, just like you might have work colleagues. They're people that inspire you. They will be honest with you most of the time. They'll critique what you do, some more than others, of course, but they provide a collegial sort of environment where you can work together, you can collaborate on things, you can go to places together, you have somebody to talk to about your project.
The Guild to me is more than just this structure, this funny little building. It's made up of incredibly wonderful people who have always gone out of their way to help me, and we help each other. We become a family and have been incredibly supportive. If somebody has something great going on, we acknowledge that, we celebrate that. We're here for each other when things are not going so well. We've had some of our members have passed away. When we've had deaths in our family, people are here to support each other.
We've had some losses within the group, either members that have passed away or people who've lost significant members of their family, and people show up.
My husband died tragically in 1987, and life just fell apart. But for me, what was wonderful was that the Guild rallied, and there was all this food that appeared, and things were just taken care of. I didn't have to cancel magazine subscriptions or send notices. The Guild really took care of me, and that was quite a wonderful thing.
And that because we are a cooperative, we are working together. We work together when we load a kiln. We work together at the sale. I'm very proud of the fact that we work together on the empty bowls that goes to help the Greater Lansing Food Bank. We've done it for 27 years, and I've been a part of it for that long.
It's a part of your life. Right. And somehow potters seem to get along very well.
My wife and I moved here grew up in Alabama, went to school in Florida, and came here, and we thought, well, no way would we stay here after we retire. But I can tell you, the Potters Guild has made me give a second thought to that. I wouldn't dream of moving back to Alabama now. I have a Potters Guild.
To allow older members to maintain their connection with the Guild with a reduced work responsibility, an Emeritus Member category was also created. Through our common purpose and shared passion for clay, the Guild has also become a vital component in the lives of each of its members. We strive to sustain the energy and commitment of our founders to carry us forward for the next 50 years. The Potters Guild plays a major role in my life. We're not a pay-to-play organization. It's a group that is self-sufficient, and we only survive through the efforts of our membership. It's quite a commitment. The Guild makes a commitment to you in asking you to be a member, and it's quite a commitment for members to be a part of the group and to do their part to ensure that the Guild goes on as an organization.
There's just so much to absorb from people who've been doing clay here for 50 years and just know everything about the glazes here and about the kilns. There's so many different aspects to learn that I found that very rewarding.
We all are self-starters. We've all made the point of fixing our lives so that we can have a very demanding thing like clay in our lives, and we all know how to set that aside, join together, and do something for the betterment of the organization.
You know, they're just your friends. You know, that's where your friends are. If you're not working, You have a group of friends that are very, very important.
This is a space that is enviable to, I think, the world over, more or less. It provides us a space with a lot of options for trying things that would be so difficult on your own, because you'd have to be full-time into potting and maybe even more than that to be able to have all of this in your midst.
The Guild is like a business, but it's also a business that you help move forward as opposed to being an owner. I mean, everybody's got a little bit at stake here. It's been here 50 years, and you want to be part of the next 50 years and make sure that the members that follow you have a great organization to learn from and use and teach from.
Carrying on the legacy is really, really important, because you see it in every endeavor. It really takes a kind of an emotional wisdom to keep that alive.
You know, that's the one big thing of everything in the Guild. Everybody is happy here. You watch the people coming in and they're smiling and they're happy, and it's a big family, and people I don't think appreciate that as much as they could.
The Guild to me is a work space, a co-op space, a friendship space. It's been a very important part of my life, and as Joan mentioned, and Eldon mentioned, I don't think I will leave Lansing as long as I can still work with clay.
We built it from square one to what it is today, and people who come from around the world to give us workshops, famous people, they're astounded that we were able to do this all on our own without any help from a university or an organization.
Getting the Guild going meant a great deal to me, and I figured this is sort of my legacy.